Kia ora folks, John Hutchinson from Plan A Consulting. Thanks for taking the time to come along and have a look at today's vlog. I just want to carry on with one of the things I mentioned in an earlier vlog, which is around the 4 pillars of good governance as discussed by the Institute of Directors in New Zealand. And those 4 pillars were around determining purpose, having an effective governance culture, holding people to account, and having effective risk practices. And I want to talk around today just around that whole governance culture. And look, this doesn't apply, this applies regardless of whether you're a large organisation or you're that typical SME, and there may be multiple shareholders and directors, or you may in fact be the owner operator. But good governance is around thinking about your business in a slightly different way. And I guess a good governance culture allows people to sit around the table, to have a difference of opinion, to have some really robust conversation, but put some rules around that. And so some of the things you might want to consider, and again, doesn't matter whether you have a formal board of directors, an advisory board, or you're just meeting from a governance perspective, but consider conflicts of interest. Is there anything taking place that's going to cause a potential conflict for any party? What does your board composition look like? How many executive versus non-executive people do you have? And what I mean by that is executive people tend to work in the business, non-executive people are sitting outside the business. So what sort of mix do you need there? Does your board have a charter which guides activity? It's almost like the job description for the board. And what about diversity? Do you have diversity of thought? Is your board representing the market that you're in? Are you getting lots of different views? And different views is really important from a governance perspective. And so you don't always have to agree. You don't always have to have exactly the same thought process on something. But a good governance culture allows you to debate those points and really flesh out what's important. However, even if you do have a difference of opinions, as soon as the board has got its public face on, then everyone needs to be in 100% agreement. And then it talks about things like the relationship between the chair and the board. What sort of training does your board have? How often is it reviewed? How are your meetings run? What happens there? What's the reporting process? What are your board packs like? What succession do you have in place for your board? So it's developing a good culture that people are encouraged to come along with their thinking. They're contributing in whichever way they're meant to. And the board grows and grows and grows. As the board grows, and I'm not talking about size here, I'm talking about clarity of thought. But as the board grows, then so does the business grow as well. So today's business brief is simply, think about your board composition. And as I say, it could be a formal board of directors, or it might be more of an formal advisory board situation. But today's business brief is simply build a good governance culture around your organisation. Thanks for taking the time to watch today. If you've liked what you're seeing, please subscribe to the channel. Or feel free to share with someone else. You'll find other information on my website at planaconsulting.co.nz. And until next time, thanks very much. Bye-bye.